My name is Jack. I just turned 20 this year. I work for a moving company. I don't have a girlfriend, nor have I ever had one. Moreover, there seems to be no prospect of getting one. I don't have any female acquaintances, and my life is just a back and forth between home and work. While people my age are enjoying university activities or drinking parties, I don't have any of that glamour in my life. I think I'm leading a pretty plain life for my age. But I don't think I can change, nor do I want to. I'm just going to live quietly and end my life alone. That's sort of a resigned feeling I have. Not because I'm predicting my time of death, but because that's how my life has been up to now. I've accepted that this is my fate. I was born in a fairly urban city, to parents who were 17 and 18 at the time. Both of my parents were well-known troublemakers locally, and they had what you'd call a shotgun wedding. But my dad cheated when I was 2 years old, creating a scandal. That ended, my mom filed for divorce, and I was raised alone by her. My mom was rough and had a foul mouth, but she showered me with plenty of love, so I never felt lonely. She worked day shifts at a convenience store and night shifts at a bar, so physically, I was alone a lot, but when she came home from work, she was always smiling and listened to my stories, which made me feel happy. Jack, make sure you study well and go to college. Live wisely, not with the hardships I've had. That had become like a catchphrase for her. As a child, I didn't think about it much. Got it, I always replied. I thought that would make my mom happy. So since elementary school, I prepared and reviewed every day, and my grades were top-notch. Every time I brought home a perfect score, my mom would say, "Way to go, Jack, that's amazing," and her hugging me was the best thing. But being poor and a straight-A student, I was an easy target, and I don't have many good memories of school. Called a nerd and excluded from the group, I spent my breaks alone. But honestly, I didn't care. I thought I didn't need friends who would hold me back from studying. But I knew talking about it would worry my mom, so I kept quiet and never said a word. The time I could spend with my busy mom was my reason for living. But then, something happened that plunged me into despair. When I was in 5th grade, I was home alone, waiting for my mom to return, but no matter how long I waited, she didn't come back. The next morning, the doorbell rang. "Don't open the door if a stranger comes," my mom always said, so I ignored it, but waiting for her to come back, I thought. Maybe mom lost her keys. Nervously, I opened the door. It was a police officer. I was taken to a hospital. To the morgue, no less. There, my mom was lying still. My only emotional support, my mom, had died in a traffic accident. My heart felt like it was crumbling with a loud clatter. It took a long time to accept reality. But my healing heart didn't wait for those around me. Because my mom ran off with my dad when I was born, she became estranged from her family. There was no relative willing to take in a child like me. My father was nowhere to be found. In the end, I ended up in a foster care facility. The people at the facility were very kind and tried hard to make me feel comfortable, but it was just a nuisance to me at the time. I had never thought of getting along with anyone other than my mom, so I couldn't adapt at all. Even as a middle schooler, I remained quiet, and of course, making friends was out of the question. But out of habit, wanting to make my mom proud, I continued to work hard at my studies and remained at the top of my class. Having moved on from the same elementary school to a local middle school, almost everyone knew about my family situation. The bullies, who had already targeted me, began to harass me even more, using my situation as an excuse. "Must be lonely without your beloved mom, huh? You have no friends, so all you do is study, right? Poor thing." Being subjected to such heartless words was an everyday occurrence, and I became numb to whether it was painful or not. Amidst this, there were just two people who spoke to me. One was a guy named Kevin, a classmate since middle school. He was flashy and had lots of friends. It didn't seem like he had any reason to bother me, but there was one thing I suspected. It was the presence of another person who talked to me, a girl named Maria, also a classmate from middle school. Maria was what you'd call a person with both beauty and brains. Even I, who had no interest in others, could tell from the atmosphere that she was respected by both boys and girls. I had no acquaintance with Maria. "Good morning, Jack." "Bye, Jack." Suddenly, she started speaking to me like this one day. There was no malice in her behavior, but she didn't talk to me beyond that. Just greeting me with a smile every day. Back then, I didn't feel happy or annoyed by it, but now I think those greetings from Maria made me feel like I existed. But let's get back to the point. It seemed that Kevin liked Maria and started bothering me, suspecting something between me and her. "Hey, are you close with Maria? Maria's cute, right? I went to the same elementary school as Maria." Kevin always talked about Maria, but unlike the others, he didn't bully me. "Not really." "Huh?" I'd respond like that. Then we reached our third year of middle school. I had been studying for high school entrance exams, thinking it was natural to make my mom happy. But I decided to stop pursuing that path. The facility I was in supported us until high school graduation. Moreover, with my good grades, I could have been recommended to the top local high school. But I couldn't find a reason to stay in the facility and continue going to school. My mom probably thought graduating from a good school and joining a good company would lead to happiness. But I couldn't see any vision of happiness for myself anymore. Since I'd be looked down upon by others and live alone anyway, I might as well truly be alone. I thought it would be easier to earn a modest living without being looked down upon by anyone. Despite persuasion from the facility staff and teachers, I chose not to pursue further education and instead started working at a moving company, where even a middle school graduate could start with part-time work. Soon after, I left the facility and began living alone in a small apartment. The apartment, with no one else there, was more comfortable than I expected. Additionally, the employees at the moving company, who were very fond of me as a teenager, helped me become more accustomed to interacting with others over a few years. As an adult, I didn't face any unreasonable bullying, so on the surface, I think I became a normal working adult. But I always thought the deep-seated wariness of others in my heart would never go away. I was promoted to a full-time employee at the moving company when I turned 18 and was leading an ordinary life. Recently, as I was approaching 21, I stopped by a convenience store after finishing a job a little far away. "Hey, isn't that Jack?" That's what a guy around my age said to me. "Who are you?" I didn't hesitate to ask. "Man, that's harsh. It's me, Kevin. We went to middle school together." For a moment, I genuinely couldn't remember, but hearing middle school reminded me of the one guy I could think of. He was about the only guy who ever talked to me. But even so, I had nothing to talk about with him upon this reunion. While I was struggling to respond, Kevin continued. "Long time no see, huh? How have you been?" Starting such a harmless conversation. If there's nothing much to talk about, he doesn't need to bother talking to me. Just as I thought about leaving. "Do you have a girlfriend now?" he asked. Finding this bothersome, I wanted to end the conversation quickly and said, "No, I don't." That was a mistake. Perfect timing. We're about to have a mixer, and one of the guys just canceled. We're in a bit of a bind. I'm not going. I quickly refused before Kevin could continue. However, Kevin was not one to give up easily. "Please, man, you can sit there, and of course, since it's last minute, I'll treat you." He was persistent, almost as if he'd follow me home if I refused. Honestly, I often go to drinking parties for work, and I'm not as averse to interacting with others as I used to be. Since he was offering to treat me, I thought, well, if he's going this far, maybe it's okay. Maybe I also harbored a bit of longing for the idea of going out drinking with friends. So I found myself agreeing to this invitation, not knowing I'd regret it later. Led by Kevin, we met up with another flashy guy at the station. This is Jack, a classmate from middle school. When Kevin introduced me, the other guy chuckled a bit, which caught my attention. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming today. But he quickly said that, so I soon forgot about it. We headed to the Italian bar, the venue for the mixer. I had only been to regular pubs when going out with my colleagues. This stylish place was exciting for me. Trying to hide my excitement and maintain a serious face, the women soon arrived. A flashy girl with blonde short hair, a girl with long curly brown hair, and a quiet-looking girl with glasses and black hair. The girl with glasses sat opposite me, and the mixer began. At first, we did introductions and had harmless conversations, but as the alcohol started to take effect, I began to feel uneasy about Kevin's behavior. Just drank a bit too much. I'm full already. One of the girls said as the drinking party was nearing its end. It's all right, it's all right. Jack here will eat it all up. What? I'm full too. That's what I thought, but then Kevin said, because this guy grew up really poor, you know. His mom worked at a nightclub, so he's always hungry for food, right? I couldn't find it in me to smile at Kevin's cheery inquiry. Yeah, it's true, but would you say that in front of people you've just met, and claiming I'm starving for food? Something dull seemed to stab at my heart, but I couldn't afford to dwell on it with the atmosphere turning sour. I just endured and ate the food passed to me. I felt miserably humiliated for the first time in a long while. And get this, he was so poor and friendless, that's why I was the only one who befriended him. I'm a nice guy, right? I never asked to be his friend, not even once. But it's true that Kevin's interactions, apart from the bullying, offered some solace back then. However, it turns out, after more than 5 years, this was his real intention. He was only good at studying but couldn't afford high school because of being poor. So pitiful, right? I invited him today to let him feel a bit of fun, as there's no bright future for a middle school grad. Meanwhile, the leftover, messed up dishes kept being piled in front of me. Why did I even come here? Am I just a laughing stock, a leftover disposal? I was embarrassed about feeling excited about this evening. And there was this super cute girl Maria in our class, but he mistook her talking to him as her liking him. It was so cringy. He's making stuff up. Enough already. I felt pathetic for only being able to think this and not being able to verbalize it. I'd continue to live, being looked down upon by those above me. I thought I had changed for the better after getting a job with a middle school diploma, but it wasn't true. I was just turning a blind eye to the harsh reality. As I felt my world going dark and looked down. That's cold. I heard splash and the girl's screams. Shocked, I looked up to see the girl with glasses standing up and splashing the contents of her glass on Kevin. All this while, you've been talking, but none of it's been funny. And that Maria girl probably liked Jack much more than someone who can understand other people's pain like you. At first, I didn't understand what she had said or done. But slowly, I realized she was standing up for me. Kevin, initially stunned, angrily said, your words mean nothing to me, plain Jane. What do you think you're doing anyway? The girl with glasses, ignoring him, grabbed my bag and said, let's go, Jack. Hey, wait. I followed her, led away from the restaurant by the girl. Kevin was still saying something, but the girl didn't flinch. Honestly, I was relieved and felt refreshed. If I had stayed there any longer, I might have broken down in tears, despite my age. My past and future seemed too bleak. Thank you, I managed to say as we walked out into the bustling street and stopped by a quieter riverside. It's okay, I was just fed up. If I overstepped, I'm sorry, she said. She turned back to hand me my bag. Wait, was she speaking informally just now? Puzzled, I took a good look at her face for the first time. With glasses on and her bangs covering most of her face earlier, it was hard to see. Under the street light, her long bangs fluttered, revealing a face I recognized. I might not have noticed under normal circumstances, but having just heard about her, I recognized her immediately. Maria. She had matured a bit, but her dignified, delicate features were unchanged. "Yeah, long time no see," she said, with the same easygoing manner she had in middle school. Turns out, she was asked by her university friends to attend a mixer but didn't want to seriously meet any guys, so she disguised herself to look less appealing to men. Kevin probably never dreamed that the girl was actually Maria herself. But still, even after 5 years, I had managed to cause Maria concern again. Back then, her greetings were just her way of caring for a lonely me, something I can clearly understand now. "Sorry for troubling you." "Well then." I said that and was about to leave her presence. But then, "Why are you apologizing? You haven't done anything wrong, Jack." Maria said that. Her words were as straightforward as they had always been. Living straight and true, she could say such things without hesitation. Meanwhile, I feel as if everything I do is an apology in itself. Why? Because I'm pitiable, right? You're caring out of sympathy. It's kind of you, but I'm okay. I've always been like this. I'll continue to live a life where I'm looked down upon by those above me and just endure it. I've accepted that, and I don't want to be helped. It might feel awkward for you, but it's a waste of time for someone like you to worry about me. I don't know why. Why did I say that, even though I was happy she helped me? Maybe because Maria's straightforwardness and radiance made me feel my own inadequacy. I wished I could disappear after saying such things to the very person who had just helped me. But Maria didn't get angry or retaliate. I'm not doing this out of pity. What I said to Kevin and my actions in middle school were all because I wanted to. I'm not doing anything reluctantly. She communicated this with her straightforward words. She wasn't acting out of obligation, but rather following her own feelings. Another heart-touching statement for me. Not knowing how to respond, I remained silent. Don't think of yourself as pitiable. Don't decide your future is doomed. Sure, you've faced a lot of hardships, but you've overcome them. That makes you amazing, Jack. You worked hard in your studies and did chores to make your mom happy. Anyone who tries hard for others is kinder and stronger than anyone else. Her words seemed to gently thaw a frozen part of my heart that had been cold since childhood. Maybe I had always longed to hear someone say you did well or that's amazing, especially since losing my mom. I never expected Maria to say such things. Tears began to flow from my eyes, as if a string had been cut. I ended up crying because of Maria, despite having managed not to cry earlier thanks to her. Maria patted my back until I stopped crying. After that, Maria and I started meeting and talking more often. My first friend, as I never really had friends before. Being with her, I naturally began to relax and smile more. About 3 months into our relationship, I asked her something that had been bothering me. By the way, did I ever tell you about what I did for my mom? Maria would have been a stranger when my mom passed away in middle school. I didn't remember sharing such personal details with anyone then. Actually, my mom was a senior of your mom. She often talked about her, and since elementary school, I always wanted to meet you. I heard you were a kind boy who cared a lot about his mom. That was news to me. Sorry for turning out to be such a gloomy and dull guy, despite your expectations. I said a bit self-deprecatingly, but Maria's response was unexpected. No, I thought you were exactly the kind person I expected. I saw you early in the mornings in middle school, watering the classroom plants. I used to come early for my class duty. I was surprised she remembered such details. Well, I was the plant caretaker. There were 2 other caretakers, right, but you were the only one who consistently came early, even when no one was watching or had to tell you. That's why I've liked you for a long time." Her words were something I never expected. Really. As I stood there, surprised and at a loss for words, Maria continued. "Didn't you notice? Even at the mixer, I said those things to stand up to Kevin, but I really meant it. I was so nervous saying it, but you didn't react, so I thought maybe you didn't hear me." The girl named Maria would have liked Jack more than you who can understand someone's pain. Indeed, Maria had said that, but I had taken it as just a turn of phrase. It didn't take long for us to start dating after that. The future I once thought was hopeless turned out to be incredibly bright, spending it with someone who made me love myself, warm and radiant like the sun. And today, 2 years later, we get married. I, who had nearly given up on my life, can't say something cool like the future opens up if you don't give up. But now, with the happiness before me, I've learned to cherish it and to have hope for the future. Together with my wife, who stands by my side,